Hello dear CA students. So your preparation must be in full swing now. So here I've come with a little positive hope to all of you, sharing the ABC analysis for the upcoming examination CA Inter Audit paper. Now let me give a very clear understanding before I get started with this. This particular discussion is very clearly only to make your approach clear about the coming examination preparation. Point is, in the subject like audit, many students have a problem regarding what to do, how to start, where to start. Syllabus is voluminous, and because you got exposed to the subject like audit for the first time, the fear about the same is very obvious to be there. Because of that, in the last hour or maybe in the last few days of your preparation, you could have a little problem with respect to which topic should I do first, which I should take up second. So basically this ABC analysis, according to me, is not where I say which topic is important or which is unimportant. For me, it is if you are very confused as to how to prepare or how to start and how to close it, here is a structured way of preparing which topics to go in first, which should go in second, and which should go for third one. Point is, I believe ABC to be the sequence in which you are going to prepare it. Okay, so basically selective preparation for our course is not acceptable. We all know we are going to be professionals, and because of which playing with any kind of topics, not doing some topics, all these things will not help, because examination is always a different ball game together. Correct? So because of that, this is going to give you a right approach and a proper sequence in which you can prepare, so that you will have a way in which you'll be able to finish, put a check mark on which all topics you have completed with a proper grasp over it, grip over it, and more importantly, you'll also be in a flow and not very tensed about what you have not covered and what you have covered. Okay, so this is the understanding for me as ABC analysis. I am very sure after I give you this, you will get a very relaxed attitude, and you will know the sequence in which you have to study, and this will definitely help you in your A class preparation. All right, so here I have made a proper study for the subject of audit, categorizing it as A, B and C, where I believe this has to be completed in first go. Then you take up second and third. This is not considered to be the first time studying that you are doing, obviously not. Here understand, 3 times reading is required, because the point is these are very important, very crucial, utmost important areas where in the examination questions are very obvious to come from these topics, and they will come. So because of that, these one studying you must have already done. Okay, you must have taken the lectures and all that, so that reading has been done. One more very clear study has to happen with respect to this first category. Second, you must have studied once, but one more has to happen compulsory. And this, when you are studying itself, these topics are taken in a way wherein learning happens together, especially when you look at our classes. When I have done bank audit and all, the way it has been delivered is I have revised in the class itself so many times that I believe while studying itself, you must have revised it also. So one more reading of it would be important for the last minute. Okay, now which are those topics? If you trust properly, like if you trust me really on these topics and the way I have classified, almost 40 to 50% of the scoring is going to be from these topics only. Okay, this is very important. You will see any audit paper, you will see that questions from audit strategy planning is going to be there. Ethics and acceptance has become now Institute's favorite topic, where from this area questions are going to appear. Rather, I would say the first 10 chapters talk completely different, and the 11th chapter talks something completely different. So 11th chapter obviously is going to have a different weightage. So in the exam, these 2 topics I would recommend your 100% preparation. Do not lose any part of it, because it is very important. Questions will come from this area. Then comes to the new addition, okay, that is there in your syllabus, which has come from the new scheme itself. So types of engagement, where you study about assurance, non-assurance, the components of the assurance engagement and all, that part I would recommend study it deeply. It could be definitely tested. Okay, possibilities there. Then comes to the most important part, that is the set of our standards, because when you look at bulk of it, many students are like, these many standards how we take up. So I would recommend these standards you please focus on in detail. Expectation here are very high in the examination. SQC1, I would tell you, either you'll have a question from SA 220 or you'll have from SQC1 guaranteed. Okay, so either 220, so here I would say SQC1 or SA 220, and if your luck favors both, from these two, one question definitely will appear in your entire paper. It will be there. So those obviously are very important. Then comes to 200, 300 and 400 series. 400 obviously you must be knowing that it is not covered for you. 200 and 300 series, these are all simple standards that you must have done it in a very simple manner also. They are not complicated, they are very easy. So I have categorized them into B, where I think one more revision would be enough. But yes, we have the entire set of 500 series which have a lot of content in it, and these are focused area. From 500 series you will have questions coming. So you'll have 500, 501, 505. If you are able to recollect the names, that means you are in the game. Okay. So 500, 501, 505, then 510. These days 501 and 510 have become very commonly questioned ones. Then 520 analytical procedure, which I tell you even when I am teaching that earlier 520 and 530 were different topics only. We never had it as a part of our audit evidence topic. We had separate topics, one for analytical procedure, one for audit sampling. Even today I say that the weightage for it is still the same. They are still treated as separate topics altogether. So when you do audit evidence as the topic, trust me, 520 and 530 has to be studied separately. From here, definitely questions will come in a separate range altogether. So these are compulsory kind of standards to be covered. 550 is obviously important, but the coverage is very little, so I think you'll be able to handle. In 600, the only standard I would say is 610, but see that you please study it very well. We have done it extremely well in our lecture, so I think if you have gone through it also, you'll be knowing it very well. Okay, the way it has been delivered, okay, it is so clear, so conceptual. I think once also if you go through, you will not forget the standard. That is my guarantee. So 610 is also very important. Then 200, 210 are all basic questions. These days even 210 has been questioned a lot. Then CARO, Institute's favorite part. You will have now exam paper without CARO questioning, where you have clause 1, 2, okay, then you have clause number 7, which has become recent favorite of the institute. Then you have 9, okay, 11, 13, related parties and all. So these are parts where you have to study, and also the 20th part where you have about CSR reporting, because it's also connected to law syllabus of yours. So definitely these areas could get tested. So these important clauses you please focus on, even needy companies and about registration of with RBI, about the NBFCs and all. Okay, these all things which I have highlighted a little now, those you cannot miss out, you have to study them properly. 700, 705, I think you'll not have a problem, they are easy ones, they are important. And 143 reporting, okay, here you have 143, 1, 2, 3, 4, all that. Okay, when we do company audit, we have done it in detail, exhaustively we have done it in audit report topic. I think one more good reading at your end would be suffice. Okay, but reporting of fraud when it comes to your duty of inquiry under 143.1, okay, 143.3 the principal assertion, these are very important areas, do not ignore. And you know 143 itself has CARO also. Okay, so 143.13 is nothing but 143.10 is nothing but CARO. I think 11 is CARO. So obviously in this case CARO is covered here. So 143 is very important. Then comes to next one, that is where I told you one more revision would be required, that is 260 communication matters, joint audit, which is very simple. 701 CAM, 706 are going hand in hand. We have CAM and EOM and OM paragraphs. So even one reading you have done it properly, conceptually you will be knowing it. 710, 560, 570 are very important. Okay. Why I am giving it only one reading is because I think the first time when you do it thoroughly. So one more good reading and some important areas of the standard, okay, have to be covered very well. Okay. Then 230 is a separate topic altogether. Okay, but most of the time it might come, it might not. Okay, so one more reading you do it, you'll be able to handle. 580, okay, the type of question coming in the exam is somewhat guaranteed. I would say 99% of the time it is there. But why I have classified in B is because the standard is easy. Okay, so if you know which kind of written representations are mandatory to be obtained. Second, what will happen if you get unreliable written representation, or when you are asking for a representation and they are not giving. Okay, these three areas are there which are very important, and that is the reason if you revise them also I'll consider it to be enough. So 99% chance the question will come from WR, but if you go through even once again, those are all important areas, I think you'll be sufficiently well prepared for the part to answer in the exam. Risk assessment, internal control, some areas are important here. Government audit, you'll definitely have a question, and audit of cooperative society. They are also put in local bodies, okay? Okay, this also I would consider to be revised properly. And hire purchase, leasing companies, also repeated questions are coming in, so you could have one more good revision here. Then comes to bank audit. Bank audit, I strongly recommend that in the class when I have delivered this session to you, I have marked some important areas. I have also told you which areas you have to focus on a lot. I told you which areas are exam oriented. I have revised it repeatedly there. So if you have done it with me initially, then I think those parts you already know it. I would recommend those parts have to be revised again. That's it, okay? And then special audit remaining part, I have absolutely no idea how it is going to be memorized, how it is going to be remembered, okay? But those one good reading will be enough, and in the exam, whatever points you jot down, you'll be able to write it. Now you might see in all these parts, you might wonder, ma'am, one of the very crucial parts you have not covered, and that is audit of items of financial statement. I understand very clearly almost 12 to 16 marks coverage comes from audit of items. I would strongly recommend that the way you prepare for it is, if you have gone through the lectures, you will know that it is significantly going to take a lot of time, and if you have done it once, I think you'll be having a good experience. What you have to do is, you have to first understand the concept of assertion. Second is, pick up 2 assets, 2 liabilities, 2 incomes, 2 expenditures, and see how the way checking has to be done for each assertion. Then what happens is, you will be able to get some kind of common pointers which are applicable everywhere, okay? That topic definitely requires a smart preparation. If you do mugging up, if you try to put all of your time on that topic, trust me, you'll be able to cover only that, and others will remain like that only. They'll not be completed, okay? And this topic of audit of items cannot be done in one go. I would always recommend whatever time slot you have planned for audit, see that last 15 minutes, you give to one item of financial statement. This way, you'll be able to cover it effectively and efficiently, and you'll be able to write in the exam. One particular asset, liability, income, expenditure, and one particular assertion about it will be tested in the exam. So you should be able not only to relate on how to audit, you should also understand for which assertion what steps are required. Okay, if you are aware of the way we have discussed in the class, I have picked up the assertion and the relevant procedure. Picked up the assertion, relevant procedure, because it is not going to be like how do you do audit of borrowings. Okay, then in that case, it's not going to be possible at every point you require to write. They'll ask you that whether the valuation is correct, or whether how do you check if it is existence. So one assertion will be picked up and a question will be framed. So you cannot write valuation pointers to existence, rights and obligations to existence. You should be able to correlate. For that conceptual learning, very important. The way we have done this part, I think it is covered exhaustively. I have given dedicated timeline while teaching this topic. So I think if you have done it through, then you will not have a problem here. Okay, so that also is 12 to 16 marks easily in the exam. That requires systematic preparation. Mugging up will not help. All right. So this was just to give you a little bit of help on how to sequence your preparation. Okay, and how much revision is required for a particular category. Covering everything is very important. So with this, I wish all of you all the very best. Trust me, the paper is going to be simple, understandable, and you'll be able to crack well, because what will come beyond the material? Everything is in the material. So if you have done the material well, you will not have a problem in the examination. One important tip before I close, audit is a paper where it is going to be answers to write is very easy, but interpretation of questions is very difficult. So this is the only paper where question understanding is very difficult. Once you understand the question, writing answer is quite simple. So I would recommend that whenever you write an answer in audit, read the question minimum twice and try to understand properly what the examiner is questioning you. It's very important to first get the correct understanding of the question, then jump to the answer. Don't write the answer in haste. You will end up giving a wrong answer only because you read the question wrongly, and all your efforts will go in drain, and that is what I don't want. So the tip would be that read the question twice, then begin writing the answer, understanding the question correctly.
Before we start this video, do like and subscribe to our channel and not miss on any updates.